Welcome back to another episode of Mr. Hackathon Automates Everything. I'm Mr. Hackathon and I will be showing you how to automate your business processes. In this episode, we're going to go through something slightly different. We're going to use Google Sheets and we're going to automate the process of gathering data using APIs. So if you're not familiar with APIs, an API is basically a connection between your database, which would be our Google Sheets, and another database. And we are going to use iTunes as the other database we're collecting information from. So what we're going to do is use this API and we're going to gather data from iTunes and bring it into our Google Sheets. We're going to use something called API connector to do this. So API connector is created by a company called Mix Analytics, and it's free. It's a freemium software, so that you will have to pay for upgraded features. But we are going to walk through the free features today. So what you will need to do is create your spreadsheet. Once you have installed API connector, so let's go. In the installation process, you have to log in to your Gmail account and you have to install individual install, just did a domain install. But that don't worry too much about it. You just have to install API connector and you go to the Mix Analytics website and click on install for free and it takes you to this page. Then we go back to our spreadsheet and we have a regular blank spreadsheet. And what we have to do next is go to add-ons. We go to API connector and we click open. So now you get this bar on the side. And then what we have to do is click add new. And now you have some configuration to do. And we're not going to go too much in depth into what everything means on this configuration. But this get method means we're basically retrieving information. And that's what we're going to do right now. I am going to use the iTunes API. So let's see. That's the iTunes API. And I believe what this is actually doing is getting songs from Radiohead, I believe. I don't want to, I believe that's a big band, but I'm not too sure. Because this is a public API, we don't need to put any headers. Headers are usually for private APIs and it's connected to your credentials to have access to that API. A lot of APIs are public, but some of them are private and some of them, they're private up to a certain point, and then past a certain amount of what's called API calls, you have to begin to pay for. We don't need any authentication. The output settings will be going to this current sheet, which is dataset 1. That's the name of my sheet. And then we want to name and save the request. I don't want to save the request, but I'm going to name it iTunes at Radiohead. So we're just going to double check it's how we like it and then click run. And in a couple minutes, or less than a couple minutes, we should see all the data. So we have 50 rows of data, well, 60 rows of data, well, 51 rows of data, sorry. And it has brought back all this information. So it's told us that this is a track and it's a song and this is the artist ID and collection ID, and the list literally goes on. It's bringing back all this information for us. So we have really quickly automated our process of getting information from an API. So you can do tons of different things with this. You can set up Zapier automations, if this then that automations. You can create apps from this database. So we are going to use Glide and try to initiate an app really, really quickly. Let's just show how powerful this is. So I'm going to log in. I'm going to log in right here. I am going to make an app from a sheet. I am going to use this sheet that I just brought data into. And now we can see we start to have our data. So if I want to turn this into cards, so now we have to think about, okay, this is the image, the header might be, and what it's actually doing, what Glide does is pulling your data from here. And now in this property section, you have to map the title. So let's say this is track name. As you can see, the track names are there, and there's a track. Artwork is a bit blurry, but you kind of get the point. And maybe if we make it a little bit smaller, no, it's still the same. And there's lots of different ways you can play with this. This is just getting the data, pulling the data and giving it a really nice user interface, which Glide does extremely well. There's lots of things we can do with this. We can begin to allow people to add data and add tracks. The list can go on. What I wanted to show you how to do is to use the API connector to pull in data from iTunes into your spreadsheet and automate that process. And I believe I've done that. What you can actually do is schedule it. So what we have done right now is manual, but you can create triggers for that to be scheduled and for you to pull data at a scheduled rate. But also bear in mind, it's not unlimited. A lot of these APIs do have caps, so you're not just taking the data from these sites and from these other apps. Please like, comment, and subscribe if I've provided you any value whatsoever. And feel free to send me a DM, hit me up on Twitter or on any platform. If you have any questions, if you want any advice, I'm open to helping, jumping on a call in any way possible if I can.